This person writes, should I tell someone I'm not interested after a first date if I haven't heard from them? Usually in these situations, you'll see a lot of like ghosting, especially just like after a first date or maybe the second date. And I actually like that approach sometimes better because it's just less drama in a lot of cases. It's like, oh, I don't like you. And then it's like this whole debate. It's like, oh, let me convince you. It just kind of creates a weird dynamic. And that's why you do see a lot of just ghosting. But it's like, you don't really have an obligation to this person just from going on one date with them. It's like, yeah, sometimes you can throw them like a courtesy thing, but sometimes that courtesy just leads to arguments, drama, resentments. I'm not good enough. Um, Whereas just ghosting, it's just like, okay, they get the hint and then they just go away kind of deal. And probably they felt the same way, and that might be why you haven't heard from them as well. And so it's like they get it, and they're not totally into the situation either. Let's read the post. Typically, after a first date, I send a woman, okay, guy writing it, I send a woman a polite text saying I wasn't feeling a connection. I don't think you want to do that, dude. It's just like you kind of just want to walk away. Because what are you doing? You're just burning the bridge. Say in a year or two, when maybe it doesn't work out, you just kind of ghost, and then you just kind of go on your own thing. Maybe a year or two, it's like she changes a lot. She works on herself. She gets in shape. She whatever it is that really raises her attraction, and then she's trying to get with you again. But you have that basically the door. You left the door open for her somewhat. Not like, oh, I don't have a connection for you, so you just basically shut the door, slam it. I do this regardless of whether I've heard from her or not after the date. So you're in a, it seems like you're just in a pattern of doing this. It's like the first date. It's like, oh, I don't have feel connections. Just shut the door, shut the door, shut the door. But also, if you have a good date, I wouldn't do this either. I wouldn't say, oh, I had a really good date, or I had a connection with you. It's like you wouldn't do that if you actually know what you're doing, really. Because it's like you wouldn't do that because it eliminates the mystery and eliminates her wondering about you, eliminates the anticipation. She knows exactly where you stand. She's totally clear about that. And women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear, something that Coach Corey Wayne talks about constantly. He refers to a study that they did that study on that really supported, the data supported that concept. And so by texting her like immediately after or the next day, you're just basically giving her complete certainty on where you stand, and she doesn't want that. She wants to work towards figuring you out. It's just more of a kind of like a romantic game, if you will. But I've been wondering if this is just presumptuous in the cases where they don't reach out to me. Yeah. Well, not necessarily. Don't take just because someone doesn't reach out that they're not interested. There could be different dynamics involved. And also, you'll probably just expect you as a guy to be the one who has to initiate at the very beginning stages of dating, but you don't want to come across as you chasing her. And so don't expect her to like chase you from the very start. That takes time. Maybe it'll take a month. And then she'll start to reach out to you. Then you set a definite date, and then she'll start to reach out to you more and more and more, especially when you don't just constantly text her every single day thinking that's going to build her attraction. It just eliminates her opportunity to chase you, which is really the healthy dynamic that you want. Because I'm the one turning them down, but in reality, the lack of interest may be mutual. Yeah, it just seems like you're getting a little bit of a sense of importance by turning these women down. Like, oh, you're not good enough, so that makes me good. That's kind of seems seemingly like what you're kind of going after. At least that's what you're bringing up in this short post that you're talking about. Like, your whole focus was on, oh, this is basically what I do, and I do this over and over again, telling women that I don't feel a connection. So it's like, just check yourself on that if you're getting that feeling of importance by just texting women that, like, oh, you're not good enough for me, and look how good I am. So just be careful on that pattern, and I wouldn't burn the bridges on these women that you date, because you never know like what's going to happen in the future. Because also your criteria changes as well. Maybe it'll kind of change towards that person. Maybe you'll realize that that person actually was pretty cool. Yeah, you just don't know. And then also you don't want to say like, oh, I was feeling connection when things do go good in a date, because that just really eliminates the mystery. It eliminates the fun dynamic of dating if you are just a complete open book and she knows exactly where you stand.